What's going on, guys? Kyle here with Gnarly Knives, and I know it's been a long time, been a few months now, and I do apologize for that. I know I kind of took a unplanned hiatus. I know tons of stuff been going on in the world lately. I know it's not really much of an excuse. A lot of other YouTubers still making tons of videos with everything going on. It's just kind of hit the back burner for me, but I am back, and I do not intend on doing that again, at least for that long. I do try to do videos as often as I can, and I will try to make them more often, make this more of a priority, because I do really enjoy doing this, and it is as much for me as it is for you folks. But today, what I want to do is finally do this video I want to do for a long time, is about stropping. And I finally had a good excuse to finally make this video. One of my best friends in the world, you guys have probably heard me mention him a few times if you've seen some of my other videos, but Sandbox Explorer on YouTube is my best friend Dave Higgins, and he is an awesome dude. He has all his videos are about video games, more specifically the Nintendo Switch. But a lot of the Switch games are just taken from regular video games, so you can still learn tons of stuff even if you don't use Switch, but you still play Xbox or PlayStation or whatever else is out there as well now. But I highly suggest checking that out. And even me, who I'm not really into video games as much, I still thoroughly enjoy his videos because he's just very animated. Just for him alone is just worth watching the videos. Funny thing, his birthday is actually like 2 months from now, but about a month ago, his girlfriend and mom wanted to throw him a surprise party because he's never had a summer party. Anyway, I got him a knife, and what I got him was the S30V version of the Paramilitary 2. And I also gave him a strop with some compound, but I didn't really get a chance to explain it to him, and I just thought it would be better doing this in video format. So Dave, this is for you, my friend, but this is also for all of my other friends and viewers out here who want to know a little bit about stropping, and also the technique to do so. So basically, to start out, what exactly is stropping? I know most of you guys here watch the channel, probably familiar with it, probably do it regularly. You're probably doing it right now. I do a lot of stropping while watching videos. But for people who are not familiar with stropping, basically, a good thing I always use is to make people think oh yeah, because you probably do know what it is, just didn't realize what it was called. But you ever see those old movies or barbers, stuff like that? They use the straight razors, but you'll see them pull that piece of leather and then just wipe the blade up and down it, and that is stropping. Stropping is a great way of maintaining your edge. The trick is to do it while the knife is still sharp. If the knife is dull, you're just wasting compound time and effort. So it's good to do while the blade is still sharp, but it can seriously extend the amount of time you can go between sharpenings. And two, depending on the steel of the knife or the amount of damage, it can even take out some damage as well. Slightly rolled edges I have taken out with stropping, and most steels will be able to be stropped out if they have a little bit of damage. I mean, I've even taken out, and I mean minute damage because it's a very hard steel, but something like ZDP 189, I've been able to strop little tiny rolls or edge imperfections out of with that. But S30V is a classy example. That's one of the reasons why I got my buddy that version, because I love S30V. A lot of haters out there with S30V. That's fine. You can, choose to have your wrong opinion. Just joking. But seriously, it's a good steel. I just don't see why it has the hate that it does. I've never really had the issues a lot of people seem to, but that is beside the point. Now, with stropping, basically what you're doing is, I'm actually going to use my work knife because this thing is actually also getting ready to strop, but I don't need to sharpen it. It's still pretty sharp. You'll cut yourself. The very back of it, a blade where I don't use as much, will still shave a teeny bit. But this is why this is the perfect setup for it to be stropped, because it will get it back to shaving sharp. The first thing, because I've done this a bunch of times, but is to make sure that the edge where you're going to be stropping is clean. Now, I'm talking mostly with the sense of people, probably the majority of people use their knives for, most of all, is opening boxes. But stuff you get that tape, that residue, it's going to do two things. One, it's going to kind of clog up your strop, but then two, it's still kind of covering that area, especially if it's on the apex, so you're not really getting that part stropped. Or if you do, you're just clogging up your strop with your compound with, tape and residue and stuff like that. So you want to try to avoid that if you can. But this is clean. I did clean it right before I started the video. Now, there are a lot of different strops that you can get. I just use a simple piece of leather, and that's what my buddy has. I want to do a whole other video talking about alternate things to strop with, or, different things you can do for stropping if you're in a pinch. But this is just for the basic general, like, nuts and bolts of it. Now, what I eventually want to do is I want to make my own, just, like a stropping block, and have a couple pieces on there, just to make it much easier. But generally, what I do is I'll just lay it flat on a hard surface. You definitely want it to have a hard surface. I'll lay it flat on, like the edge of a table or something. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to use this can of boiled linseed oil. Now, with stropping, I'll kind of show you what I'm doing, but I do want to kind of explain also. Now, it doesn't really matter. You can go, start at the end of the blade, work towards the tip, or start at the tip, work towards the end. It really doesn't matter. It's personal preference. But the one thing is, you always want to strop away from the edge. So you don't want to bring the blade towards the leather. You want to bring the blade away from the leather, because then you can just slice into the leather, just putting more wear on the edge and cutting up your strop. So that's why you want to strop in a motion that is, you want to do more of a pulling motion, pulling away from the leather rather than pushing into it. And another thing too, just because, leather is all different thicknesses and stuff, but leather is soft, and what it will do is it will kind of form around the edge, so you don't want to necessarily strop at the angle that your edge is sharpened at. Best way I can kind of put it is, you just want to, so when you're looking at the edge, you can see that the edge is making contact with the strop. Just lay it back just a little bit more. So you see being up like that, so I'm right at the edge. You just want to lay it down a little more. Now, by doing that, because especially if you're using compound, it doesn't matter as much if you're not using compound, but using compound, because it will remove material. It is still an abrasive. It's not like using a sharpening stone. It's not like that, but it will remove material. And eventually what you can do is you can give yourself a convex grind, which if that's what you're going for, then yeah, great. But you can over convex. You can literally just round your edge off, and there's just no sharp part left. So that's what we want to try to avoid. But it is very simple. Just start and just pull away. And it's not like you don't have to count like 5 on this side, 5 on that side. If you want to at first see what feels right for you. For me personally, I just kind of go with what feels right. But this is also good too for people who are sharpening or learning to sharpen, is to think about the strop system. Because whenever I sharpen, I always finish on the strop to get any remaining burr off and to clean that edge up a little bit. Give it a little bit more of a polish. Now, you can use bare leather. I finish on bare leather. Then, that's kind of like an up for debate thing. Some people are like, oh, what's the point? It doesn't do anything. I don't believe that to be so. Because I have before just, taken a knife that needs some stropping and just gone right to bare leather just to try it out. And I will notice a difference. It'll take a knife that is, just shaving or, not quite shaving anymore, and bring that edge back to shaving sharp. So I do think there's something to it. I know it does also help polish that edge a little bit. I don't remember what it's called, but there's like some chemical that's in the leather, and that will help actually kind of polish your edge as well. But you just want to do these motions, just kind of go back and forth, and it really doesn't matter. You can go, a bunch of times, or you can just do, one side, then the other side. It doesn't really make a big deal. And as long as you're keeping a lower edge angle than, what you're sharpened at, um, as long as you just keep the knife relatively, flat on the strop itself, you won't have to worry about rounding your edge. I mean, of course, you're going to get some natural, slight convexing, um, but that's fine. There's really nothing wrong with that at all. But, and it's something that it will, as I said, maintain and keep that edge, but, in a sense, it really will help, with that same principle, help extend the life of your knife. Every time you sharpen it, you're removing a lot of material, even if it doesn't seem it, but you will remove a lot of material. And over time, you eventually wind up with, like, a thin little cheese knife that was at one time, there's this, thick, long blade, just because, from over sharpening. And I've done it. I have knives that I've over sharpened. I mean, it happens. But you just want to, keep that angle just slightly lower than where you feel like the edge is. But you'll be able to tell, you'll be able to see. And, just do it a few times. I mean, now I'm just kind of keep doing it while, I'm doing the video because I keep talking. But, and then, I can feel that difference. See if I can. And it's taking the hairs out. Like, this is shaving now. Now, granted, I do have a little bit deeper, like, rolls or chips, because it's S30V and S30V chips. But for what I'm doing with work, whatever, it's really just opening boxes, pallets, stuff like that. This is fine. I'm not going to need to sharpen this for a while. I usually try to strop this about once a week, but that's because I'm using it every single day, multiple times a day. Like, this knife is probably in and out of my pocket 25 or 30 times a day. This is definitely my most used knife. If it's something that you use, a couple times a day or once a day or whatever, if you're only actually cutting stuff, unless you're, like, cutting through, like, thick rope or you're slicing cardboard every time you use it, you can probably strop it once or twice a month. It really depends on what you're using it for, but also how you feel. Because that's kind of the, it's like, when is the right time to sharpen? It's just, or not right, when's the right time to strop? It's just one of those, like, open-ended, it's, a variable question, but, as you do it more and you get more familiar with it, is you will, you become an expert at it pretty damn quick. But yeah, if you just keep a good head about it, and keep that edge at a lower angle than or keep the knife tilted at a lower angle than it's sharpened at, you won't have to worry about over convexing, you won't have to worry about convexing or, having the leather fold up around and just wiping your edge out and just straight rounding the edge off. So I guess, over convexing, I guess, would be a way to put it. But then after I do the compound side, because this was the compound side, to flip it over, I'll go to the bare leather side, and there I just give it a few swipes, just cleaning it up. Yeah, sorry about the sound, it's just the can, the bottle here, the can, making noise. But it's really a simple process. I hope I'm not making it sound more complicated than it needs to be. I know when I first started stropping, I got nervous about the over convexing and stuff, but you just maintain your edge angle, and if you mess up, it's not a big deal. And Dave, same thing. If you end up, like, removing your edge entirely, you just bring it to me, buddy. I'll make a video sharpening the PM2. But it's something that if you just practice, and just kind of get an idea where that edge angle is. I mean, if you really want, I know this is, like, more of a sharpening practice, but if you want to just color your edge in with marker and then strop, and you can see that it's removed. But anyway, I hope you guys glad to have me back. I know I'm happy to be back. Remember to keep carving, stay sharp. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share. Check out my buddy's channel. Dave, I hope this was helpful, and I love you guys. Peace.